Anya hadn't walked these woods in 3 years, not since she lost everyone. But something pulled her out that February morning. Call it intuition. Call it fate. At 80 years old, this Siberian woman who'd survived harsher winters than Montana could ever deliver stepped into the snow-covered forest behind her cabin, following footprints she couldn't explain. What she found would change everything. A tiny ball of gray and white fur, barely breathing, half buried in snow beneath a fallen pine. A husky puppy, maybe 8 weeks old, its body temperature so low it had stopped shivering. Anya's instincts from decades of Siberian survival kicked in immediately. Another hour and this baby wouldn't make it. There were no vets, no phones, no help for miles. Just her knowledge, her will, and her refusal to let another soul die alone in the cold. This is the story of how a heartbroken widow and a dying puppy saved each other. And fair warning, you're going to need tissues. Anya Volkov woke that morning like every morning for 3 years. To silence. The kind of silence that pressed against your chest and made breathing feel like work. Her small Montana cabin sat miles from the nearest neighbor, exactly how she wanted it after losing her family. Isolation felt safer than connection. Loneliness hurt less than loss. She'd come to America 40 years ago, but Siberia never left her blood. The cold didn't bother her the way it did Americans. 15 degrees below zero? That was spring back home. She'd survived winters that killed grown men, outlived a Soviet system that crushed millions, buried loved ones in frozen ground. At 80, she figured she'd earned the right to fade away quietly in these woods. That morning was different, though. She'd dreamed of her grandmother, the tough old woman who'd taught her everything about surviving impossible winters. In the dream, Babushka had looked at her with those fierce eyes and said, "Anyushka, you think you're done? Get up. Walk. Something waits for you." Anya woke with tears on her weathered face. Foolish, she thought. Old woman chasing dream ghosts. But she found herself pulling on her heavy coat anyway, lacing up boots that had walked through Siberian storms, grabbing her walking stick. Something pulled her outside into the bitter morning. The forest behind her cabin stretched white and silent. Fresh snow had fallen overnight, covering the familiar trails. Anya moved with the careful efficiency of someone who'd walked through worse, her breath pluming in the frozen air. That's when she saw them. Small footprints, canine but tiny, weaving erratically through the snow. They led deeper into the woods, growing more scattered, more desperate looking. Anya knew these signs. She'd tracked wounded animals across Siberian tundra as a girl. These weren't the confident prints of a healthy creature. These were the staggering marks of something dying. She followed them into a small clearing where a massive pine had fallen during winter storms. And there, in the snow-covered hollow beneath the trunk, she saw it. A tiny bundle of fur, motionless except for the faintest rise and fall of its rib cage. A husky puppy, of course a husky, the dogs of her homeland. Its distinctive facial markings barely visible under a coating of frost and ice. "Bože moi," Anya whispered, dropping to her knees. "My God. Little one, what are you doing out here?" The puppy didn't respond. Its fur was stiff with ice, its small body so cold it had passed the point of shivering, a deadly sign. Anya's survival instincts, honed over 8 decades of harsh winters, kicked in immediately. Hypothermia. Severe. Minutes mattered now, not hours. And help was 20 miles away on roads she couldn't navigate anymore. She would have to save this puppy herself. just like babushka had taught her, just like she'd done for injured creatures in Siberia as a child. No vets, no modern medicine, just knowledge, will, and refusal to surrender to death. Anya unzipped her coat and pulled the frozen puppy against her chest, then zipped back up with the tiny dog tucked against her body heat. "You picked the right old woman to find," she said in Russian, beginning the careful trek back. "I've kept things alive and colder than this." Inside the cabin, Anya moved with the focused intensity of someone who'd faced death before and refused to blink first. The puppy lay motionless on towels beside her wood stove. She stoked the fire carefully, not too hot. Warming a hypothermia victim too quickly could stop their heart. She'd learned that at 12 years old, bringing her frost-bitten brother back from the edge. The puppy's breathing was so shallow it barely moved her tiny ribcage. Her gums were pale, almost white. Dehydration. Frostbite on the paw pads. Core temperature dangerously low. In Montana, people would have rushed this puppy to a vet in a warm car. But Anya was Siberian. She'd saved lives with less than what she had right here. She wrapped the puppy in layers of towels, rubbing each limb with careful, practiced movements. Not too hard. Damaged tissue from frostbite was fragile. She'd seen men lose fingers from well-meaning rescuers rubbing too aggressively. Gentle, patient. Let the body warm itself. "Listen to me, Malyeshka," Anya said in Russian, the language of her heart. "Little one, I know you're tired. I know it would be easier to sleep. But you don't give up. You hear me? Huskies don't give up. Siberians don't give up." She heated water on the stove, testing the temperature against her wrist, before dipping her finger and touching it to the puppy's lips. At first, nothing. Then, a tiny flicker of tongue, a swallow, another. The puppy's survival instinct fighting through the fog of hypothermia. "Duh! Yes!" Anya's voice cracked. "That's it. Fight, little warrior." Hours passed. Anya didn't leave the puppy's side, didn't sleep, didn't eat. She rotated the towels to keep them warm, massaged the tiny paws to encourage circulation, offered water drop by drop, talked constantly in Russian, telling stories of her childhood, of her grandmother, of Siberian huskies that had pulled sleds across frozen tundra and never quit. "You come from strong blood," she whispered. "Your ancestors crossed Siberia when the cold killed everything else. You have that strength inside you. I see it." As the sun set and darkness filled the cabin, except for firelight, the puppy stirred, really stirred. Her eyes opened, one blue, one brown, both unfocused but alive, both seeing Anya. The tiny tail gave the smallest wag. Anya, who hadn't cried in 3 years, who'd convinced herself she was too old and too broken to feel anything anymore, sobbed. "Welcome back, little one. Welcome back." The puppy, Anya named her Nadezhda, hope in Russian, recovered with the stubborn resilience of her breed. Within 3 days, she was standing. Within a week, exploring the cabin on wobbly legs. Within 2 weeks, she was attacking Anya's slippers and barking at snowflakes through the window.
Look, boy, look!
Anya watched this transformation with wonder. She'd spent 3 years waiting to die, existing in a cabin that felt more like a tomb than a home. Now she woke each morning to a cold nose pushing against her hand, to demanding yips that meant feed me and play with me and I need to go outside. "You're very bossy for someone I saved from freezing," Anya grumbled in Russian, pulling on her boots at 6 in the morning.
Just a minute.
But she was smiling, actually smiling. When had she last done that? Outside, Nadezhda bounded through the snow with pure joy, her thick puppy fur already adapting to the cold. She was born for this weather, this landscape, just like Anya had been 70 years ago, in a different frozen forest across the world.
Good boy.
You know what you are? Anya said, watching the puppy dig enthusiastically in a snowbank. Your Siberian spirit wrapped in fur. You remind me I'm not dead yet.
Good girl.
Training Nadezhda gave Anya purpose,
Good girl.
teaching her to sit,
Come on, you little
to come when
rascal.
called,
That's it, good
to
boy.
walk without pulling the leash.
Okay, easy there.
The puppy was smart, wickedly smart,
You are chewing on
and
my
stubborn as
table.
hell.
Oh no.
Every day brought
Done
new
here.
challenges, chewed furniture,
Oh, you are
accidents on the
Oh,
floor,
you did that. Oh,
3
no.
a.m. howling sessions.
Oh, my goodness.
Things that would have driven Anya crazy a month ago now made her laugh. The cabin filled with life again. Puppy toys scattered across floors, food bowls in the kitchen, a dog bed by the wood stove where Nadezhda slept, always keeping one eye on Anya, making sure her human didn't disappear. 3 months after that frozen morning, Anya stood in her backyard teaching Nadezhda to fetch.
Good girl.
The puppy bounded back with a stick, dropped it at Anya's feet, and looked up with those mismatched eyes,
Oof.
one blue like Siberian skies, one brown like earth, both shining with unconditional love. You know something, Nadezhda? Anya said in Russian, kneeling down to stroke the soft fur. I walked into those woods thinking I was saving you, but I think maybe my babushka sent you to save me instead. The puppy licked her face, tail wagging furiously. Okay, okay, Anya laughed, pushing away the enthusiastic tongue. Enough kissing. We have work to do. Tomorrow we practice pulling. Your ancestors pulled sleds across all of Siberia. You think you can pull me on the old sled in the shed?
And be strong.
Nadezhda barked, loud, confident, full of joy. A sound that said, "Try me." That night, Anya sat by the fire with Nadezhda sleeping across her feet. For the first time in 3 years, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt peaceful. She'd spent so long believing her life was over, that she'd loved and lost and had nothing left to give. But this stubborn puppy with mismatched eyes had taught her something Siberia had taught her as a child. Life persists. In the harshest conditions, through the darkest winters, life finds a way. Sometimes it looks like a frozen puppy beneath a fallen tree. Sometimes it looks like an 80-year-old woman who thought she was finished. Thank you, Malishka, Anya whispered to the sleeping dog. Thank you for reminding me what it means to live. Outside, snow began to fall again, but inside, the fire burned warm. And 2 survivors, one old, one young, both fighters, kept each other company through the long Montana night. Sometimes miracles have 4 legs and mismatched eyes. Sometimes salvation comes in a package so small you almost miss it. And sometimes at 80 years old, life gives you one more chance to remember what hope feels like.